Hey, Pamela here, and today I'm going to bring you a raw onion bread recipe. My friend Tamara was raving about this. She found it on the Rawtarian.com website, and she said it's super delicious, so I'm going to make it. And it makes me think about this whole idea of breaking the bread together. Tomorrow I'm going to a mostly raw vegan Christmas dinner, and a lot of people don't want to do dairy, they don't want the gluten, and so how can we still break bread together? Like, I'm doing mastermind groups now where I bring people together supporting everyone on their specific goals, and I think it's really great to have an environment where we are connected and we're breaking bread together and supporting each other. So let me get into the recipe. It's pretty simple from what I can see. You need 3 giant onions. These should be the sweet onions, not the regular yellow onions, the sweet onions. And then we have a cup of sunflower seeds, a cup of ground flaxseed, some olive oil, and some tamari. And that's it. So a couple of tips for you. First of all, if you don't want to cry when you're peeling these, pop them in the freezer for about 15 minutes before you cut them, and that will help you so you don't get real teary when you're cutting the onions. And this sunflower seeds, now for me, when I first started draining sunflower seeds and I saw the water that came off it, I never wanted to eat sunflower seeds without soaking them again. Maybe you can see this. You see the water, how murky it is? I'm going to drain it off so you can really see it. So for one thing, soaking your nuts and seeds will activate the live enzymes in there and make them more digestible, and you bring out more of the nutritional qualities of the sunflower seeds. Okay, so now look at this water. Do you really want to eat water that looks like that? So it's really good, it's really important. For me anyway, I like to soak the sunflower seeds. So once you've soaked these seeds, you're going to put them in the food processor. Look at that water. Oh, gnarly, man. You're going to put them in this food processor and grind them up. And then just set them aside. So now I've got all the onions peeled and ready to chop up. You want to put them in the food processor for a little while to make them small, but not mushy. So that looks like I love this food processor. It took me about 6 months to really decide which one was best. This one I love. So check it out. See, I might have gone a little bit too long on this because it is looking a little mushy, but I think it'll work okay. So you basically just put that in the bowl with the sunflower seeds and mix it around. Okay, so now we have the processed onions and the sunflower seeds in there, and we simply add the last 3 ingredients. Pretty simple, right? So we have a cup of ground flax seeds, and it's really important to not buy ground flaxseed. I like to grind them up myself because they have a tendency to go rancid really quickly. So I just take these, I put them in my Soya Bella, but if you have a coffee grinder, that works too, and just grind them up. So I have 1 cup of ground flaxseed. I have 1/3 cup of olive oil. And the recipe calls for like 3.5 tablespoons of tamari, but Tamara said you've got to put more tamari in. So I'm going to put, you know, it's not quite a 1/2 cup, but it's quite a bit of tamari. She said it tastes a lot better though. And then while you're mixing it up, you can think about all the love that you want to put into the food and maybe do a mantra. I know it sounds a little bit out there, a little bit woo-woo, but I really believe that the energy we put into our food is very important. Like if you want this, and if you want it on the chewy side or if you want it on the crispy side, you just leave it in the dehydrator longer if you want it crispier. Okay, so I put all of that on 2 of the Teflon sheets and the trays, and I'm going to put those in the dehydrator for about an hour at 120 degrees. And you've probably heard that the enzymes are lost when it goes over 115 or 118 degrees. But when it's thick like this, you can definitely put it in there for 120 degrees, and it's better to have it warmer temperature in the beginning so that you don't get any of the bacteria. So I'll put it in the dehydrator at 120 degrees for about an hour or so, and then reduce the heat to 105 for another 6 hours. And then when they get to be a little bit firmer, then I'll go ahead and score them to make slices of bread. It has been about 4 hours, and we've got this bread that smells fantastic in my house, and it's firm enough now that I can score it, and then I'm going to be flipping it over to dry the other side. Alrighty, so these were scored about an hour ago, and now I'm going to flip them over. So you just take a mesh sheet with the tray, put it on top, and flip it over. And then you're going to take the Teflon sheet off of it. And it will be able to dry a lot easier. So then put it back in the dehydrator for another few hours. Okay, it is about 7 hours later, and we've got some fabulous looking onion bread, raw onion bread, and we can break the bread together and share, and it's all raw, very healthy, and smells fantastic. So there's the recipe, and if you'd like any other tips on joining us for a mastermind series on how to transition to a plant-based lifestyle, go to elementalcuisine.com, and there's all kinds of information that you can look at under events, and we'd love to have you join us. And I would love to share some of this bread with you right now. It is smelling fantastic.
Hi, this is Jeffrey, Mr. Rogers, and I am eating some raw onion bread, and Pamela's recipe is not too salty, it's not too spicy, it's perfect, and I like it. I like the texture, and it feels good in my body, and you keep rocking it and give it to the world. Thank you.
Raw onion bread is just supremely delicious. Soft, delicious, doesn't even taste raw. This is Robin Sharon, Director of the Annapurna Center for Self-Healing in Port Townsend, Washington, and I approve of this onion bread.